just won the FA Cup with Birmingham United after a 10-year climb up to the Premier League. And now, we set our sights on the Europa League to win some European silverware. Our team has grown so much, our players are in demand, and star right back Karim Amraoui just worked out a deal to join West Brom after the season ends. They offered him a better salary, but we turn around and offer him even higher wages to become our joint highest paid player. This is how we're going to avoid losing star players and keep our team building because we have a rich owner. Speaking of which, we have 78 million to spend. And with some of our former players still on our radar, it would be nice to bring them back. And I think the obvious choice here is fan favorite Jacob Shepherd to make a return to Birmingham United. Now the shortlist screen said we could get him for around 40 to 48 million, but here it's saying 68, so we submit an offer, but shockingly, it's immediately rejected and we can't even negotiate further. I don't know what's going on here, but it looks like we're not getting Jacob Shepherd. So we have to move on and look at other targets, and there's a couple really good up-and-coming midfielders who I think we could bring into the club, and among them is Martin van Aken, a fantastic central defensive midfielder who I think is exactly what we need to add a little bit of grit into our midfield. But he's more of a long-term signing, so he'll be on the bench, and Brooks Lennon, who's now 34 years old, is still going to be our starting central defensive midfielder. So it's just the one signing, our team's looking great, and now we have the FA Community Shield, and for a club that's just starting to compete at the highest level, I think it's so important to get a winning mentality, and we're looking pretty defensively sound here early in the game, much like we did last season. And as we spring on the counterattack here, there's a real sense that we could go toe-to-toe with some of the top clubs in the country, as Jazzy Parker has the first sighted goal and forces it out for a corner. Birmingham United have looked pretty bright here, and really all we need is one moment to find our way through this defense. Matthew Hobbs heads it back into play, and we win a penalty kick. A little fortunate, but hey, we forced the issue. And it's gonna be the veteran Brooks Lennon, who's been with us since day one, to take the penalty, cool as you like, down the middle, and it puts us in front in this important match. What an absolute legend he's become for this club. Manchester City's trying their absolute best to find a goal here, but some unbelievable saves from our goalkeeper Jefferson, pretty much single-handedly keeping us in this. I mean, we're relying on this guy a lot in important moments, and so far it's paid off. And we just about see out the clock. 1-0. That was as close as you get for a game, but we come away victorious, and now we kick off our season looking for even more. And before we kick off the season, Brooks Lennon has announced he's retiring at the end of the year, so we're given extra motivation to send him off on a high note. Meanwhile, the offers keep coming in for our best players, and from big teams too. But morale's high at the club, we're paying our players well, we're finally in European competition, so we're able to keep a hold of everyone. And now we're about to kick off the season against West Ham with huge expectations on this team. We want to push for the top 4. And the fact of the matter is we have so many up-and-coming stars in this team. Notably, Jazzy Parker, who came back and had a breakout season, is looking dangerous again. And although that move didn't quite come off for him here, there's just a real sense of belief in this team, and we just keep trying. And Jazzy Parker, always with a trick or two up his sleeve, scores his first goal of the season in the first game and in some style. And we get off to a winning start. But like we saw last season, it's not just about one player. In fact, it's about our whole front three. They're playing so well together and linking up beautifully, and as long as we've got all of our best players fit and in the squad, I think we're as good as any team in the world at the moment. And with Diego Vargas and Karim Amraoui both on this right-hand side, it's looking like the most dangerous part of the pitch at the moment, and Karim Amraoui opens his scoring for the season. Thank God we locked him down to a contract because this kid is something special. And after our opening string of games, we're only 2 points off of European spots again this season. I think we could really make something special happen this year. But outside of the league, we have more important priorities, specifically the Europa League, where honestly, we have a really favorable group. We make it known to the world. We are out here to win the competition. We're gonna give it our all and hopefully get a taste of European success. But as we find ourselves 60 minutes into our first game in the Europa League, we're finding this a little more difficult than I expected going in. Just have to take our chances when they come. Speaking of which, Arthur Bowden, clean through on goal, gets the first chance of the game for Birmingham United and buries it without hesitation. This is what a team of real winners is made of. And from there, the floodgates open. Brooks Lennon, making the late run out of midfield, finishes for a second goal this season, And we just keep going. Jazzy Parker, the fancy footwork, sets up the third goal of the game. It is absolutely brilliant, and we get off to a running start here in the Europa League. And once we've worked out some of those initial nerves in the first game, the players are really expressing themselves and playing absolutely out of their minds. Matthew Hobbs has grown into one of the most interesting midfielders after being a striker for most of his career. And now it's 2 wins from 2. And as we march our way through this group in the Europa League, it's looking pretty clear we're almost guaranteed now to qualify for the knockout rounds. And with 3 games still remaining, it's pretty much impossible for us not to qualify, but now we want to win the group. So in the remaining matches, we continue to field a very strong side. We keep on winning games, and the captain Matthew Hobbs is leading by example. And as we can finally let our guard down just a little bit, we do start some of the bench players like Freddie Best, who we haven't seen much from the last season or 2, but is still looking to break into this team. Now I realize how insane this is, but 6 games undefeated, 17 goals, and none conceded. We are rampaging through the Europa League. And that's not all. We are well within reach still of a top 4 spot, as our form continues to stay really good through the season. Karim Amraoui really repays the faith we put into him at the beginning of the season by setting up so many assists for teammates. Every single player that we've built this team around is contributing in one way or another, and we've basically reached the perfect system that I've been looking for 10 seasons. From goalkeeper to striker, we are absolutely in top form. And we are now in 2nd place in the Premier League. This is unbelievable. And we get the chance to take on our newly promoted rivals. Birmingham City are back in the Premier League, and for the first time in a while, we are a much better team than they are. We're throwing everything we have at this, but so far, nothing's come of it. That won't stop our spirit though. We are absolutely cutting our way through their defense. We just need the final ball to finally go in, and Jazzy Parker tests the goalkeeper. Still nothing, but man, we've given this game everything we have as we come up towards halftime, and now Brooks Lennon takes it short. Arthur Bowden, little chop, cuts it back, and Sean Gibbs, the center back, comes up with a towering header to separate the 2 teams, and especially in a derby game against a team like Birmingham City, the goals like this are gonna count for a lot. But next up, we take on top of the league, Manchester City, for the chance to show we could be the best team in England. But they're a really, really good side. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. They score a banger only 8 minutes into the game. I think we're given a reality check here. But one of the best features of the team these days is our fighting spirit, and we keep on battling here. Matthew Hobbs, using his strength in midfield time and time again this season, he's become a real force to be reckoned with. And as Parker flicks it through, Hobbs finds himself on the receiving end of a perfect pass and is finding so many goals as an attacking midfielder. Now the game is on, and I think we could actually make something of this tie, but Manchester City continue to be a threat here. We're only 20 minutes into the game, and we've seen so much action, but then Arthur Bowden goes down after that challenge, and for an injury-prone player, that's not looking good. We've had a lot of concerns about his physical fitness, and for some amount of time, he's going to be on the sidelines. So Freddie Best gets a chance to get called up into the first team and make an impact in a game that's incredibly important for the scope of our season here. But Manchester City are really taking charge of the pace of the game, and our defense just falls asleep at an important moment and concedes the goal that decides the game. And if we want to compete with Manchester City, we still have a lot of improving to do. Well, that game and a few more dropped points later, we find ourselves in 6th place, level on points with 3 teams at the moment. We still need to do better to finish in the top 4. And unfortunately, we're going to have to do it without our star player. Arthur Bowden's out for 3 months, which is basically the end of the season. He's our leading goal scorer and probably our best player next to Jazzy Parker. But with him gone, it's up to Freddie Best to step up and make that left wing position his. He hasn't taken the step up with a lot of the other players. This is his chance, because up next, we have a huge match in the round of 16 of the Europa League. We take on Spurs, and this is not exactly a favorable match. But Freddie Best is gonna start, and the pressure is really mounting. He's been with us for a lot of seasons now, and if he can't find some sort of significant role in this team, it's gonna be a very difficult match for us here, because Spurs have built a pretty good team here in this career mode save. We are looking to find our way through them. Freddie Best looking dangerous immediately in the match here, using his pace to dance in behind the opposition, but he cuts it back in the smart play to the top of the box for Brooks Lennon. Little give and go. We might be overpassing here, but we're looking to create a chance. Doesn't quite come off, but fortunately, we've been in control of the game at least, and Freddie Best with a clever little flick. He's looked bright. The rest of the team now needs to link up, and we can't find that final ball. We take it to the second half. Freddie Best puts a dangerous ball in. He's given it his all, but we haven't quite gotten that clean look at goal just yet. Tottenham is packing numbers into the box and making it very, very hard for us to score. And now with only 10 minutes left in the game, we really have to make something happen because we don't want to go into the second leg goalless. But Tottenham is looking to do the exact same in our direction, but Jefferson coming up with another huge save. I know we don't talk too much about our goalkeeper, but he's become one of the best players in this squad. I mean, he's genuinely bordering on world class at the moment. These are some really, really good chances he's keeping out of the back of the net. But the pressure has well and truly turned against us here as Tottenham Hotspur are using the home fans to their advantage, spurring them on and creating chance after chance, and then it looks so easy here at the end of the game against our tired legs to score the only goal of the game, 1-0. So we take it to the second leg. We got outplayed tactically, so going into the second leg, I'm gonna switch things up, go 3 at the back and try to dominate midfield. And with Brooks Lennon usually playing as our defensive mid, I'm gonna try something different. Put him at center back so he can distribute, and we're gonna drop our new signing, Van Aken, into midfield to really just be a destroyer and break up play. As we saw last game, I think we need something a little special here to break down this defense of Tottenham. And so far, we're actually looking really bright, moving fluidly through midfield, and the little ball over the top doesn't quite come off, but Birmingham United looking very sharp. Tottenham Hotspur are getting away with murder. Nothing's called here. The referee allows them to play on a Jazzy Parker with the flair to rainbow flick over his man, driving forwards, but the final touch, he is bundled off of it by William Saliba, who a few pointed out made the unusual switch from Arsenal to here, but the ball over the top finds Diego Vargas and tries to chip the goalkeeper. There's still plenty of time to get ourselves back into this one though. Jazzy Parker, what is going on? How is this not a free kick? He's getting absolutely mauled by the back line, but Spurs continue to drive forwards anyways, and the half chance, it's unbelievable. We are down 2 goals. Now, can we turn this around? Because the players are desperate to make a really good run here in the Europa League. Diego Vargas coming forwards. This is a really good chance, and it's deflected, and it's a handball. We're gonna get a penalty kick, and it'll be a chance for Brooks Lennon to take this. He's played as a center back today, but we know he's reliable off of penalty kicks, and he converts, and now we are 1 goal away from pulling ourselves back into this tie. But only seconds are remaining in this game. We're really cutting it down to the wire here, and Diego Vargas turns his man, little step over, and he takes on the second, puts it in the back of the net. It is unbelievable stuff as Diego Vargas pulls us through into extra time. It's been a really gritty game from both teams, and you can tell the players are running out of steam as the chances dry up here in extra time. But we continue to give it our all, and as we're caught off the counterattack here, Spurs get one final chance, and it is going to penalty kicks. And now this is going to be a real test of mentality for this team, and the youngest player in this squad, Kareem Amraoui, scores the first. Tottenham keep it level. Jazzy Parker converts his chance. Spurs keep the pressure on with one of their own. This is going to be a very interesting end to the shootout. And now Brooks Lennon, who's taken many penalties this season, is saved by the goalkeeper. Well, out of all players, you would not imagine that. And as Spurs convert their third, the pressure is well and truly on. Now, Sean Gibbs, our center back, who we haven't seen take many penalties, is also saved. It's a catastrophe for Birmingham United. And now our goalkeeper Jefferson needs to save both of these chances to keep us in it. But he goes the wrong way. And Tottenham are victorious in this game. Our Europa League hopes are dashed. Now all we have left to play for is top 4, and we need to give this our all. And with our rivals Birmingham City back up in our next game, we gotta take our anger out on them. And the players are really motivated here to have a strong finish to the season because that was hugely disappointing in the Europa League. But so far, we're coming up empty-handed against our rivals who, just like last game, make it very difficult to find a clear-cut chance on goal. But one thing that's always going to shine through in games like this is just the absolute quality of players like Jazzy Parker. And it takes a moment of individual brilliance for him to separate these two teams and find us 3 points in what turned out to be a pretty difficult game. And with only a handful of games left in the season, we're finally seeing Freddie Best start to find consistent form. It's never good to have your best player like Arthur Bowden out, but I do like to see this kid shining in his absence. And despite the couple of disappointing results we've had this season, this team is just head and shoulders above anything we've been before. And with Jazzy Parker truly emerging as maybe one of the best players in the world, I think we're in good hands. But now this is almost unbelievable. One game left in the season, and a win here against Chelsea would take us into the top 4 guaranteed. This is gonna be a crazy finale. And with Arthur Bowden finally back from injury, I think despite Freddie Best playing well, we just have to put our absolute best players in this lineup. And it's gonna be a sad farewell to Brooks Lennon, who is gonna retire after this game. Let's give our long-standing player a really good send-off with a win here to take us into the Champions League spots. But we have a lot of way to go and fight here in this game if we want to make that a reality, as Jazzy Parker dances through the center of midfield. All the players are linking up brilliantly right now, and that ball played in to Matthew Hobbs, our striker turned attacking midfielder. Can't put that one in the back of the net. And we'll be hoping it wasn't a mistake to start Arthur Bowden in this game ahead of Freddie Best. Seems a little harsh on the latter player, but Arthur Bowden does look as fresh as ever, and as he puts that ball in for Jazzy Parker, that is perfect, and that is why you have to start a player of the quality of Arthur Bowden. All credit to that cross, but we gotta also talk about the finish. Jazzy Parker scores one of the iconic goals in Birmingham United history, with maybe the goal that takes us into the Champions League next season. But with half an hour still left to play, Chelsea are well and truly turning the tide, so we need a tactical switch. We're going 5 at the back, and we bring on our new signing Van Aken, who could not be more perfect to get into midfield and shut down any chances here with only 20 minutes left. But Chelsea come really, really close to finding a shot on target there. We are hanging on by a thread. I hope it wasn't a mistake to commit to defense like this. And really, there's only a minute or 2 remaining, so we're gonna take this into the corner. Like I said earlier, it's a sign of maturity for a team to just learn how to get results in games like this. And we're certainly doing that, making the most of all the opportunities we get to just waste time and sit in the corner. Jazzy Parker puts a little bit of flair onto it. All we have to do is see these last couple seconds out, and Birmingham United will be in the Champions League next season. But restrictive possession here, surely there won't be one more chance, and there isn't. The whistle blows. We have finally done it. It wasn't a pretty ending, but who cares at the end of the day? So confirmation, we finished in 4th, and for the first time in this series, we finish as the best team in Birmingham, beating out Aston Villa. And as we look towards the bottom of the table, Birmingham City are staying up, but it comes at the cost of poor Arsenal, who are getting relegated again. And although he will be missed, Brooks Lennon can retire happy, knowing he was one of the biggest contributors in getting us to the Champions League. And if you guys want to play with Birmingham United yourselves, go check out my Patreon. I made the Birmingham United mod free for everyone to play with, and I'll be back soon with the final episode in this series. Hope to see you there.